Claire Pearsall's still with me, former Conservative government advisor. Claire, you planning to leave the country anytime soon?
No,
Just
I'm only on holiday. That's
it. It's just the holidays. Otherwise, would you ever think of leaving the country?
Yeah, I have considered it. We have looked at other countries, but it largely depends on, could you work, could you support yourself? You know,
and that's the question. It depends if you're young, you're just starting out, you do a tech job, or if you're retired, you know, you've got a bit of money, you can leave.
But people, when you're in the middle and you're a bit older,
then it's difficult. Yeah. Well, the trouble is, 257,000 British nationals in last year, in the whole of January to December 2024, did decide to leave the country. Although extraordinarily, it was more than 3 times what the previous estimate was, which was just 77,000. Well, let's talk about this with former Office for National Statistics statistician Jamie Jenkins. Very good morning to you, Jamie.
Good morning, Julia. How are you doing?
Very well indeed. But I just want to ask, first of all, how is it that the ONS previously estimated that 77,000 people had left, and actually it's more than 3 times that? Did they just like put their finger in the wind and go, we think it's... How did they come up with a number that was so wrong?
Yeah, so historically what we've relied on is, and I've seen them at airports, and people might have seen them themselves, when you're going out, flying into the country or flying out of the country, they would have people working different shifts, and they'd randomly ask people their intentions. So they might come up to you.
Are you leaving the country?
Yeah, they might come up to you at Heathrow and say to you, are you planning on going on holiday? And you might say, well, no, I'm actually going to work abroad. I'm planning on living abroad. And you would estimate the number of people coming in and the number of people going out from that kind of survey.
That doesn't seem very scientific to me.
Well, in back before when we had computers and all the administrative data that we've got now, it was the best thing that we've got. It's a similar thing.
We've had computers quite a long time, though. I'm going to say they only changed it very recently, haven't they?
Yeah, and that's what the improvements are trying to do. So they've been embarking on, and this predates when I was at the ONS as well. They've been working on this for a while to try and look at administrative systems of the tax records and looking at GP records to try and understand where people are moving within the country as well. Yeah. To use that data to kind of move away from the survey. So they estimated 77,000, and now it's gone up to the record number.
More than 250,000, and it is a record number of people living. And who are they? Are they retirees? Are they young people? Is it just all influencers off to Dubai to post silly pictures of their duck lips? Who are they? And are we delighted they've all gone because they're all work shy, waste of spaces? Thank God they're off the payroll. Or actually, are these the people who would have been sorting the payroll, setting up businesses, earning good money, paying taxes?
So we don't get the full breakdown of who they are, but what we do have is other sources of data which kind of indicate some of the trends. So if we just look at the numbers overall, we had a record number leaving in 257,000 in the last year. Now, if you take the total of the last 4 years, Julia, it's nearly up to 1 million Brits have left. But remember, some people leave, some people come back in. So we do know that overall, though, we've seen over 300,000 net Brits have left the UK in the last 4 years. And then we get people who then track kind of with wealth surveys. They look at how many millionaires are kind of moving away. And I know this is something that people have been highlighting now, that this has been an increasing trend. But we've seen over the in 2024, there's an estimate of around 9,500 millionaires left the UK. That's projected to go up to about 16,500 in 2025. And why is that important? Because people are thinking, well, it doesn't really matter. But when you've got kind of the high taxes that we've got, if millionaires leave and they're not investing in the country, and I know people have been saying that, they're looking to get investment in the country, and they're like, the way the Labour's taxes are, we don't want to do that. If they leave and they take their business elsewhere, then that has a big impact on jobs, and we are seeing jobs falling in the UK as well. And another reason people will be leaving as well, Julian, from a business perspective, is the high energy costs. Because if you're thinking, actually, it's more profitable to move my business, say, to another country.
Literally anywhere else.
Exactly. So those are the kind of the factors. And so the budget next week, if the taxes go up again, it's probably going to act as an incentive to push more people away. And the Labour ideology as well, it doesn't really matter,
Yeah, well, sod them. There isn't there? Like, sod them, they're not patriotic. But the reality is, lots of these people, they work really hard. They may have, come from nothing. I mean, I know an awful lot of people who've done very well in life, and pretty much all of them, to a man and woman, grew up on, bog standard housing estate, went to state schools, and they've worked bloody hard, and I don't begrudge them a second of what they've earned, and they're like, I don't really want to give, and often in lots of tax brackets, more than half of what they earn to the tax man.
And that is the problem, Julia, and this is why these record numbers are important. And it's obviously there'd be other reasons people are leaving. They've just had an absolute fed up enough of what's going on in the country. And I woke up this morning, the weather is quite stormy. Maybe I should be thinking of going abroad somewhere warmer.
I have to say, I don't understand people going somewhere where it's... I just want to move to Seattle. It rains every day in Seattle. Why would you do that? Go somewhere warm at least. And lots of people might just want a nice life. And you've got people, retirees, going, do you know what? I may as well having a nice life, you know, on the Costa del Sol or the south of France. What's not to like about that? We can understand that. And we want people to be free to do that. But we also want to have an economy and a culture in this country that says, welcome to the people who are the high flyers, who are the people who will be entrepreneurs, who'll start jobs, create the big companies, create, cure cancer, do all the important jobs, pay a load of tax. We want to have a society that says that. And increasingly, we're saying, nah, don't bother.
No, and what's masking the kind of this figure that we're talking about, this big net emigration of Brits, is we are seeing net immigration overall. So when we look at the figures, the population is going up. So we're losing Brits. And what's happening here is we're getting people from non-EU countries who generally do kind of lower skilled jobs as well, Julia, or no jobs at all.
Yep.
And then, so you're losing kind of skilled people, millionaires are leaving the country, and people who are coming in. So it's not like for like, and that causes that economic conundrum, which I don't think is going to get fixed under this Labour government, sadly enough.
No, absolutely not. And that is the real concern, isn't it? And of course, what's interesting with these figures being upgraded to 250,000 Brits leaving the country, it makes the net migration figures look better. Like, oh, actually, if we've had more people, in terms of we had a lot more people come to the country, but it's fewer than we thought. No, the same number of people have arrived. We've just had more people leave. But as you say, they're the people we want to keep.
Indeed, indeed. And hopefully one day Rachel Reeves will wake up and think, I need to change course because this...
Well, leave the Treasury is what she should do, but there we are.
Yeah, well, we had figures out, the jobs figures last week, Joe. I'll leave you with this one. The biggest percentage rises of job losses is actually in the Westminster area. So maybe we could get Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves to add themselves to the figures as well.
Absolutely. Jamie Jenkins, former ONS statistician. I mean, he's used to do the employment figures, the health figures. He understands the numbers, Claire. And that's the thing. And it is fascinating about how they work these things out and how just how inaccurate a lot of these figures are. Yeah. And it's like, but even when, remember we had that, we discovered there was 800,000 people who net migration. 1.2 million people came to the country. Yeah. And literally the Home Office went, oh, look, you handed the sodding visas out. You literally were in charge of giving the visas to people and you didn't know how many visas you'd given. That's terrifying.
But we don't keep records properly in this country for people who are very organised, which, governments generally are. They're really bad.
Do you know what the solution is? You know what it is.
Go on.
Go on.
Digital ID.
It's digital ID cards. Tony Blair, where are you? It's always, if we had digital ID cards, we'd know, right? My thing is, like, how do you not know how many people have left the country and not come back? And how many people have entered the country and not left when they're on a 3-month visa or whatever? What is the point of you keeping charge and keeping check? Why am I queuing up at passport control when you don't keep a record of anything anyway? It's insane.